Good afternoon. I hope you can see my PPT, and today I'm here to talk on the topic which is already listed on my PPT, application of GNSS in land resource surveying. I hope you all can see my PPT. So here, if we just see, already a lot of topics has been covered on GPS or GNSS. So we'll just see further to how we can use it for different land resource surveying purpose. If we just see the user requirement in the positioning accuracies, basically what are the positioning accuracies which can be required by the user. So it can be say less than or better than, we can say 20 centimeter accuracy we want in our coordinates. So here you can see the vast applications we can use it in geomatics. It can be for fault monitoring, construction survey, engineering survey, or geodynamics. Then in the land areas, we can have earth moving or road grading or agriculture or mining or urban cadastral survey. Plus in marine, we can have dragging or polygonal positioning, and in airborne during the landing of aircraft at Cat 2 or Cat 3, plus sensor positioning specifically in the satellite positioning or LiDAR sensor airborne. Then if we come to second level of accuracy, what we can achieve from GPS or GNSS is 0.2 to 1.5 meter. And different applications, if we can see in geomatics, it can be resource mapping, GIS database, utility mapping, highway surveys, legal surveys, then facility surveys, mapping and GIS, highway surveys, rural cadastral survey, precision farming, docking, and so forth. Then if we have 1 to 5 meter of accuracy, then this can be used for GIS data collection or site specific farming, navigation purpose. On land, it can be for automobiles, emergency, public tracking or mapping. Then on the marine, it can be for channel navigation, cabling, transport, research or harbor entry, then sensor navigation and ocean studies. Then the very worst accuracy, the first level of very worst accuracy what we can achieve by default by the GPS or GNSS receiver is around say 10 meters nowadays, not even 100 meters. But this level of accuracy can be used for reconnaissance purpose in geomatics, or for navigation purpose, or for area navigation or harbor approach and so forth. Now here how these 4 level of accuracies we can achieve. So that is very important to understand. There are basically different GPS or GNSS positioning techniques what we can adopt. The first is single point positioning, and we can compare it with the second level of second type of positioning is called relative positioning. Then 2 more categories we can have. One is static positioning and second is kinematic positioning. Then within relative positioning, we can have 2 type of positioning methods. One is real time and second is post mission. If we just see these techniques one by one, so we can just go to single point positioning and we can see comparison with the relative positioning later. So point positioning with GPS may take the form of single point positioning, or it is also called relative positioning. So in some cases we can go for single point positioning, and in some cases we can go for relative positioning if you want better accuracy. So here in this case I am showing you, just we are standing at a point and opening our GPS receiver on, and it is locking the few satellites in the area available. And once the minimum number of satellites has been logged, this starts displaying the coordinates, and that coordinate value is called single point positioning. Since if we are static, then we can say one more word, static positioning. So this is single point static positioning. In single point positioning, coordinates of a receiver at an unknown point. So this is an unknown point, and its coordinates are calculated with respect to Earth's reference frame by using the known position of the GPS or GNSS satellites. This single point positioning, you can see here, it is also called as an absolute positioning or just point positioning. Relative positioning, the second category we can have if we are mapping the path of a ship and we want its coordinates to be of very high accuracy. So what we can do, we can put one GPS receiver here, which is called rover, and second GPS receiver here at point number 2, suppose at the lighthouse, which is a known point. And then what is happening, both are getting the coordinates at the same time, both are locking the common satellites in the area, and the distance between base, this is called base, and this is called rover. So the distance between base and rover should not be more than around 20 kilometers. Then what will happen, in real time, whatever error is calculated at point number 2, same error we can apply at point number 3, because both are locking common satellites, both are doing observation at same time. Third thing is the distance between point base and rover is maximum 20 kilometers. So with that we can take care, whatever error we are calculating every 1 second or every 2 seconds, that error is common at point number 3, and we can apply that error at point number 3, and we can improve the accuracy of point number 3. So this type of positioning is called relative positioning, but it has two more words. It is kinematic and real time. So kinematic means the rover is moving here. This is a rover which is moving. And real time means in the ground itself, we are applying the correction from point number 2 to point number 3. So that's why it is real time. So it is a relative, kinematic, real time positioning. Second is again in a forest, if you are doing mapping, so this can be relative, static, real time positioning. So what is happening here? We have put one GPS receiver as a permanent point, as a base station, and it is connected with a beacon which is transmitting the error in the air in different directions. And here we have a GPS on a pole, 2-meter pole, and we have a beacon which is working as a receiver to receive these errors from the base. So both are locking the common satellites, both are doing observation at same time, and the distance between base and rover is not more than 20 kilometer. Then there is a common error between base and rover, and we can apply the error from base to rover to improve the accuracy of rover. So here you will have the positioning technique called relative positioning, but here you have two more words, static and real time, because this person is standing and doing observation and real time. So in real time, the errors are applied from base to rover. Then you can have static and kinematic positioning. So point positioning can also be categorized as static or kinematic. By the word itself, you can understand static means person is standing and doing observation. Then it is called static positioning. Kinematic means if you are moving by foot on a cycle or on a bullock cart or car or aircraft or ship or plane. So then we can say it is kinematic positioning technique. So in static positioning, a GPS receiver is required to be stationary, whereas in kinematic positioning, a receiver collects the GPS data while moving. So here you can see when we are moving on a car and working with our GPS receiver, it is an example of kinematic positioning. And when we are standing at a point and locking the satellites with our GPS receiver and doing measurements, then it is called static positioning. Then we can have two subcategories within relative positioning. One is your real time, and second is your post processing. So in real time, basically this is your base, and this is your rover. So here whatever correction is there at the base, it is immediately transferred through beacon, which is working as a transmitter here, and here it is rover. The error is transmitted from base to rover. So it is called real time. And in the post processing, both are doing independent observation, so there is no linkages. In the evening, we can download the data from base to a PC or a laptop, and from rover also we can download the data in a PC or laptop. Then we can process the data to improve the accuracy of rover with respect to while applying the error from the base data. So here base data is a known point where the base instrument is kept. Its coordinates are known, and with respect to that, it gives the error every 1 second or every 10 seconds, whatever the data rate we define. So overall, you can see the type of accuracies we can do, the positioning methods we can apply in the ground. It can be kinematic single point positioning. This can be static single point positioning, or kinematic relative positioning, or static relative positioning. So this method is least accurate, and if you move here, it is more accurate, and then more accurate, and then more accurate. So like this, if you move, you can see the accuracy is improving. Then now coming to the land resources and how we can use this GPS, or nowadays it is called GNSS technique for in the land resources. So if you see the land resources, it includes natural resources, for an example like gold, timber, coal, iron ore, or uranium, oil, water, soil, air, plants and animals, and so forth. So in different resources applications, we can have a very good application of GPS or GNSS receiver. So application of GNSS in land resources, you can have like mapping the resources boundaries, or its line diagram we can plot, or we want to collecting the geotagged samples for land resources. So this is very, very important, very preliminary data which is required to process the remote sensing data for different applications. Specifically, I will show you how we are applying for forestry, very specific studies, and your very specific crop mapping. And in the crop mapping, different level of mapping we can do once we have the collected the geotagged samples of land resources, specifically in the crop also. So here, if we have a crop, suppose, so this is your study area in a village, and there are small fields which you want to map. So these fields you are seeing on the through remote sensing image. Now you should have a geotag samples which can tell this is wheat and this is mustard. So these samples, this is your some sugar cane. So these samples can be used which are geotagged. So you can overlay the coordinates of the samples on your image, and then you can proceed further very confidently for further information extraction from the remote sensing images. So these geotagged samples are very supportive to process the remote sensing data at different level. It can be single image or dual sensor data, or 2-date image, or 10-date image, or multi-sensor data, and so forth. So here you can see what we have applied, and recently this one of the PhD scholars just started working. So she has tried to map the young plants of Dalbergia shisho, known as North Indian rosewood or shisham, mapped in the green color, right? So here, while doing the ground observation, she has found out there is some young plantation of shisham here. So she has recorded the coordinates with the GPS, and nowadays you don't require very rugged dedicated hardware for GPS receiver. For these geotagged samples, you can also collect from your smart mobile phone, which can give you accuracy of around 2 to 3 meters, right? And which is always there, and you can use very good apps are there. From there you can get these sample coordinates. So once we are getting these sample coordinates, we can use them geotagged samples to process the temporal data, since it is a very specific forest species, specifically in the river ravine forest. She has tried to map at different levels at the young shisham or the matured shisham trees, and here she has used up temporal planetscope data of the same area. You can see in FCC also, this is your false color composite, and here the green color patches which are shown are basically your Dalbergia shisham, which is young plants. In shisham also, they are the young plants which has been mapped, and you can see, since they are the river ravine forest, so they are always at the edge of the forest, where they require always moisture should be present in the soil. And here in the same area, this is the site near Dehradun airport, and she has collected the samples, geotagged samples for kher or acacia tree. In Hindi, it is also called katha tree. And she has basically geotagged these tree patches in the, and this is your false color composite of 6th June. Again, images of temporal planetscope image, And these green color patches are the basically your acacia areas where the acacia plantation is available. And it's again a very specific species we can map from a given remote sensing temporal data within a forest bound area. Coming to the crop also, these GNSS geotagged samples are very important because we are going for a specific crop, because you can map in the land use land covered, suppose agriculture with crop you can map, but if you want to map the wheat, so again you have to go to level 2 where the wheat fields, and within wheat fields you want to classify young wheat fields or whatever. So again, you are going for level 1 to level 2 and level 3, you can proceed. So here also we have tried the Isabgol crop in Jalore area. So we got the field photographs from there. We can map, we can see what is the field crop conditions. And here we have taken the temporal data, which is representing the budding, pollination, ripening, seed maturity, and the sun drying of the plant. And here you can see we are able to map these Isabgol fields. And here with the field photographs, we have also collected the geotagged fields where the Isabgol crop is present. Suppose this is the field, so I know the coordinates of this point lat long from the GPS, and then it is very helpful to demarcate this field on the remote sensing images where we can use these fields for training data to train the algorithm. So here you can see the Isabgol crop and also in the algorithm generally they are using the mean parameter, but we have replaced that parameter using the individual sample as mean approach and the fuzzy based classifier, and we can map the very successfully these Isabgol fields. And not only the fields, we can also map the harvesting stages. So here we have used the Sentinel-2 data, temporal data, but we have gone further to integrate the Sentinel-2 temporal data with CubeSat PlanetScope Dove satellite data to map the Isabgol crop, which is getting harvested by 21st March, or it was by 24th March 2021. So here you can see this is an example of specific crop monitoring. So that means we can monitor the harvesting crop of Isabgol at different time, which fields are getting harvested. So again, in the Jalore district, for the same sample data, we have gone for harvesting also. Initially mapping the Isabgol crop, and then further at the harvesting stages or harvesting fields has been mapped. So here you can see separately the field got harvested in the same area on 21st March 2021, then 24th March 2021, and then 27th March 2021. Again for Isabgol crop in the Jalore district. Again, I can give you the direct example of GNSS receivers. So what we have done again in the Merta city, which is having very prominent, very important crops during the Rabi season. And we have tried to get the ground truth data of different crops. So this is a Merta city here. And in the surrounding of this, we have collected the ground truth samples of the crop fields of different crops. This was very current last month also, only we have done as an online mode. So in January 2022, we got the ground truth fields. And the crops, if you see very specific crop, which we are trying to map and test the temporal data and our fuzzy model. So here we have gone for Isabgol crop fields. We got the cumin fields species, and then these are the, you can see the different fields or different crops has been mapped using the GPS, and then we have relocated these fields on the Google Earth. So here you can see the like neem tree, wheat fields, mustard, and then here cumin seeds, and taramira is equivalent to the mustard crop, and then Isabgol crop, cumin seeds, right? And then one more fodder field is fodder trees there called khejri. So all these has been identified using the GPS geotagged samples from the ground, and that geotagged coordinates has been overlaid on the Google Earth to identify how these fields are looking on an image, so that later on these fields we can identify on our temporal data. Here you can see further as a snapshot of Isabgol fields, chana, that is green chana, and taramira equivalent to mustard crop, and then cumin seeds, and other crops has been identified. So here you can see the ground samples of green chana, field photographs, fennel fields has been identified through geotagged samples, and then khechri tree, which is used for fodder, neem excessively present in this Merta city. Of course, it is there in the full Rajasthan. And then you can see taramira crop, which is equivalent to mustard crop. And then you can see same on the Google Earth image again, khechri field, taramira fields, which has been mapped. So these just fields demarcated. Now we can easily transfer this ground information on the actual image where we want to map all the fields. Here again, khechri is there, taramira is there, wheat is there, neem is there. Here you can see neem, wheat. Then you can see further here mustard, isabgol, cumin, mustard, and a group of khechri trees. Cumin is there, mustard is there, and like that. And you can see the field photographs of this one, so that we can easily see what was the condition, how the crop was at that time. And this ground truth we have done on 10th, 11th, and 12th of January 2022 in online mode. And you can see the further in J&K also we are trying to test our fuzzy model for aroma crop of lavender in Doda district of J&K. So you can see these are the field photographs and flowering of the lavender crop. These are field. They are just say around 10 meter by 20. They are around 10 meter by 20 meter, like that something. And these are the same this area in the Google Earth image. And we have tried to map the lavender crop using this ground information. So this photograph which are geotagged, they're very, very important to process the remote sensing data. So here you can see we have tried at the preliminary stage to map this lavender static crop. And this is the image of 6th June again, and lavender crop is there. And these green patches are the patches where the lavender crop is there in the Doda district. Again, using the PlanetScope temporal data from March to we have tried March to October. And then if you see further GPS applications, it can be used for wild animals tracking. It can be the animals on the land or in the air or on the water surface. So once they are the receiver is mounted on the body through different methods depending upon the type of creature we are looking for, and they have the solar small panels so that the battery is getting charged, and they are basically transmitting the coordinates and which are tracked by the geostationary satellite, and then it is basically transmitted to the ground receiving stations, and then we can go on tracking these animals. It can be for birds. Previously they have done by different methods, but nowadays they are trying with the GPS on their body. Applications of GNSS we can see in volcanic eruptions, in earthquake studies, and then floods and cyclones or tsunamis, air accidents, forest fires, man-made catastrophic or civil disorders or riots, and so forth. Space aid is disaster management. There also you can see very good application of GPS, because finally it gives you very accurate coordinates of that location which you are looking for. It can be used for early warning or contagious planning or rescue relief purpose, or early recovery or reconstruction or rehabilitation purpose. Then here you can see for the fleet management for last around 15 years, it's very nicely well developed, well established technique people are using up to map their fields. The fleet can be on the ground or on the water surface or in the air. And that was the first application, that is for navigational purpose. That was the first application people have developed to use this space-based positioning technique to locate their vehicles, specifically the defense vehicles, and very accurately up to a meter or better than that they can locate these vehicles. It can be on the ground, on the water surface, or in the air. The advantage here is there are now service providers. We can just take the license from them, and we have to just put a small GPS on our car, and we can navigate the car very easily, and we can see on our smartphone where is my car. Or specifically the transport people, they have very good applications. If they have some 20 trucks, they can monitor where each truck is, if it is going at the national level for goods, and where it is standing, it is traveling in the night time or daytime. So its movement can be monitored on your fingertip and anytime. That is a really advantage of this fleet management, and there are companies which are providing this fleet management service, and it is a good opportunity that anybody can also start up as a fleet management company and provide the services to the society. So then in the space aid in disaster management also, there are websites or mechanism developed to allow the humanitarian agencies to get access to the maps or images for emergency response. So very good application is the web-based GIS, where people can access the images on which they can drape their online GPS coordinates and locate the area which they are looking to study and going for the rescue purpose. And in the GNSS, again, there are very miniature GPS receivers has been developed for police, for fire, for ambulance, or search and rescue. Specifically, the police, once they communicate within their companies, so they can monitor where their police vehicles are, because they use the wireless, and nowadays they are using the geotagged wireless. So whenever any van of the police communicate to the main office through the call, the coordinates also transmitted, so they can easily see on the screen where that police van is. And same way the fire vehicles can be monitored, and same way for the ambulance, where it is carrying the patient from one hospital to another, or from home to hospital, or from hospital to home. The way they are carrying the patient, the monitoring of the ambulance can be done. And during the search and rescue purpose, if the person has a very small mobile phone and the coordinates are transmitted, then people can see where that person is. So nowadays application is coming for the kids. We can put a very small, very cheap mobile phone, and that can transmit it has a SIM also, so it can transmit its own coordinates, and we can receive the coordinates, and we can see where our kids are. So nowadays any where there is a movement, we can put a very small GPS, and from there we can get the coordinates, and we can monitor that activity. So application you can see in transport or aviation or fleet tracking, which I told you, and it can be for cars, it can be for buses, and people are using it for train also. And you can see on the screen the navigation purpose. When you're navigating nowadays, by default in the cars, you can see your navigating devices. This is basically your smartphone type of device, which is enabled by GPS or GNSS receiver, and you can easily navigate. You don't have to ask which path you have to follow and where to go. You can just feed your the place in the form of coordinates, or in the form of the name of the place, and then the system will give you the shortest route, and you can follow that route. Nowadays it gives you real-time traffic congestion also, and you can estimate, and you can just again decide which road you should follow, that you have the minimum traffic. So again, these are the applications which can be done in police, fire, ambulance, or search and rescue purpose. So advantage is extra hardware does not require nowadays. Information can be percolated easily to different persons. People are using it for agriculture, maybe for precision farming, or crop duster navigation, tracking the livestock, or yield monitoring. And you can see here the heavy vehicles which are basically plowing the field. For the fields are very, very large in size. Not in India. India has very small agriculture fields, but if you see in foreign, maybe USA or Australia, the fields are very, very large. So they go for very accurate movement of these vehicles, so that the fuel consumption is minimum, and they can do the maximum farming activity in the field. Same can be seen the movement of the very heavy vehicles on some construction sites where dams are constructed, or some mining areas. So the movement of this vehicle should be very accurate, so that or very precise rather, so that the fuel consumption and the time for excavation or some other activity should be minimum. Same way for as in supporting information by the GPS, we can use it for GCP's collection, which is very important information for remote sensing image registration. It can be for two-dimensional image registration or stereo images where they require GCPs to improve the stereo model accuracy. So here you can see a few long back study we have done how these field boundaries or field corners has been selected as a, or road bands has been selected as a GCP points on the ground. So this is a road band towards Mussoorie from Dehradun, and these are some plots which are coming up. So there are some new roads, small roads has been come up within that plot area. So these markings can be used as a GCPs. GCPs are used for digital elevation model generation from stereo data, or to generate the ortho images, or to go for registration of the single image. Thank you all. Just to talk about on application of GPS or GNSS for land resources. So here I've given you the main overview idea where how the GNSS is used. One way it can be used as a supporting information as a geotagged samples, or you want to directly map the area. If the area is small, so you can map the area also. There you can map the field boundaries, the building boundaries or roads, or some point information like a different trees in an area or electric poles. All these resources can be mapped. But of course, when you go for ground-based mapping, they are quite time consuming. But number of times the GPS technology gives you support to process the other data, like I've shown you the remote sensing images or airborne images and so forth. It also gives you birth to the new technology like LiDAR, because in LiDAR we want to show or we want to know what is the sensor position, and the LiDAR is kept on an aircraft or on a helicopter which is moving. So every per second it is moving, we should know every per second rate what is the coordinates of that aircraft or the helicopter. So it is only possible if we have a GPS mounted on an aircraft or on a helicopter, then we can map its path. So one way we can say the one technology gives birth to second technology. So LiDAR was not so much popular because people were not able to map exactly the movement of the platform, that's the aircraft or helicopter. Once the GPS came in 90s, so from there the LiDAR got the birth, and today you can see a very good market of the LiDAR also. So this is all about any question query if you have, let me just take up. So this was is very short lecture on this topic. I hope you got some idea for using the GPS for land resources. And nowadays, if you see your smartphone itself, you can have a very good app, and from your own mobile phone, you can achieve an accuracy of around 2 to 3 meters.